and it's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. We hold a candlelight vigil for your self-respect. Reputation destroyed by what you can expect to be the faceless in between. Because I know you can handle it. To face the truth of the matter, it's still so much better to leave the light and try.
This program is a collaboration of personal opinions and individual free thought. It does not represent the views or narrative of the mainstream corporate media hacks. Viewer discretion is advised.
And here we
Live from the bell tower, taking a stand for your rights, your liberties, and all the bullshit in between. You're listening to Break the Bell Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, happy Monday night. I am back here live. I am without Bill. Bill cannot make it tonight, so instead of Bill joining us, I am joined by a special guest co-host. That is Dave Casey of the Dave vs. Goliath podcast, and he's going to be joining me in just a few minutes. I'm going to get him in to the show, and we're going to be talking some woke culture, which I haven't really done a lot of digging into this because I've been kicked off YouTube. I've been kicked off Facebook, so I've kind of avoided the topic for a while now. But we haven't been kicked off anything in a few months now. So I guess it's time to get kicked back off. So we're going to be talking about basically woke culture, the woke eating themselves, and basically the inevitable societal suicide that this is the course that this country is leading itself on, if not the rest of the world too. But we're going to get into that stuff really quick because I've already got Dave waiting for me in the waiting room. So I want to get through this pre-show as quick as possible and then get right into it with Dave Casey of the Dave vs. Goliath podcast. Make sure you check us out all over social media. Share this far and wide. Shannon says, R.I.P. Bill. Bill is no longer with us. He has gone to a better place. No, Bill's out of town this week, so he'll be back next week. Don't fret, because he will be back. And Shannon also says, Dave motherfucking Casey. So you know it's going to be good when Shannon puts the motherfucker as your middle name. Or maybe that is your middle name, Dave. I don't know. Maybe your middle name is motherfucker. But we will find out. Maybe that's the first thing I'll ask as soon as I get you on the show. Like I was saying, make sure you check us out all over social media while we're still here, because like I said, we're always teetering on the edge of getting kicked back off. So check us out, share us far and wide all over the YouTubes, the Facebooks, the Twitters, the Twitterverse, wherever you find us. You can find us at Break the Bell Pod on all the social media platforms. Share us all around so we can make this thing a bigger and better thing. You can check out our merch at our merch store, which is breakthebell.bigcartel.com. You can get awesome shirts such as this I Won't Eat Your Bugs shirt, in memory of the Anti-Cricket Brigade, which was made up by a loyal listener of the show. C.D. McRae said she was going to form the Anti-Cricket Brigade, so I made a t-shirt to go along with that. Also, the We Are Not Your Pawn shirt, and in honor of the Internet is Dead theory show that we did a few weeks ago, we have the Is This Shirt Even Real shirt. So check those shirts out and all our other stuff at breakthebell.bigcartel.com. Support us a little more than just, if you want to pass along a little more than just opening up your ear holes to listening to the show, you can support us by buying some of those shirts, or you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/breakthebell and just help us out, help us grow this thing bigger and better than it already is. That's about all. Oh, I got to mention our sponsor. Can't forget our sponsor. Run Your Mouth Coffee. Let me get rid of this freaking image. Run Your Mouth Coffee is our sponsor. Once again, Run Your Mouth Coffee supports your right to free speech as well as making a delicious cup of coffee or a delicious batch of fresh roasted coffee, and they deliver it straight to your door. Check them out at rymcoffee.com, and you can use the promo code Break the Bell and get 10% off your purchase plus free shipping. Support companies that support your rights, support the things that you support, like free speech. Go to rymcoffee.com. This is probably the shortest pre-show I've ever done because Bill is not here to waste time with back and forth. So I'm just going to get right into this with Dave Casey as soon as we come back from this intro video. So strap in because it's going to be fun. We'll be right back.
What did you say?
You talking to me?
What the heck are you talking about?
What did you say?
What did you say? What did you say?
Are you talking to me?
Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me?
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
What are you saying?
What did you say?
Are you talking to me?
Well, maybe he was talking to me.
What did you say?
Talk to me.
What in heaven's name are you talking about?
Talk to me, talk to me, talk to me, baby.
Did you just say?
What did you say?
You listen to me. Are you talking to me?
Are you talking to me?
What the hell are you talking about?
Who are you talking to?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Dave Casey of the Dave vs. Goliath podcast. Dave, how's it going?
What's up, Craig? It's going well, man. How are you?
Good. How are you? I actually you were recommended to my show by one of our most loyal listeners, which is Shannon Lee, because she apparently loves you and titled you Dave motherfucking Casey. Is that in fact your real middle name?
It is. It's my government name right there. It's four words. Yeah. That's
yes.
it.
Dave
That's 2 words.
motherfucker Casey. Yes.
Yeah.
So
I love Sharon. I love Shannon too. She's the best. She's man.
you can't call her Sharon on this show. We're not allowed to call her, because we're her favorite. So we don't call her Sharon because we just have that back and forth. She
That's
continues to call us her favorite, and we continue to call her by her government given name as Shannon motherfucking Lee.
I'm into it.
So how you doing, Dave? I reached out a couple weeks ago and couldn't really make contact with you when I wanted to, but you're like, hey, I'll come on whenever. So my co-host disappeared this week, so I was like, wow.
Where the fuck is Bill?
He is in the great state of New York doing family stuff. So
All right.
apparently
Family stuff is good. New York, not so good, but
yeah,
that's a lot.
I think he's visiting the city. I don't think he's actually like his family's not in the city. They're in like upstate or something. The less ridiculous New York, but that's where he's at right now.
Nice. Well, thanks for having me, dude.
Yeah, no problem. Tell us a little about yourself. Tell us about your podcast. When did you start your podcast? What is your podcast?
I started it probably like a year and some change after the lockdown started. I'm like a perpetual procrastinator, so it was like always something that I kind of wanted to do.
Yeah.
But like in the back of my head, I always said stuff like, nah, there's enough Liberty podcasts or whatever. There's no, I don't need to do, I don't know.
Right.
I just wrote it off, but I really felt like, shit, dude, after that stuff went down, like I really felt a need to kind of like just connect to human beings. And so I got with a really, really good friend of mine who, it's really about, your community. And if you can talk to other people and meet people, that's cool too. But I just like really wanted to keep the lines of communication open during like this very uncertain time. You know what I mean?
Right. No, we started this show at the beginning of COVID. We started our first episode was June 2020. So, I mean, it was like right in the depths of the first lockdowns and stuff. And me and Bill, we worked together at the time. And so we would just stand out in the parking lot and just bitch back and forth about the COVID and all the other stuff going on. And then we're just like, you know what? Let's start a show. Let's do this for other people. I mean, were doing it already anyway. So, and I'd been throwing around the idea of starting a show. I guest hosted on my brother's show back in the early days. So,
Oh, who's your brother?
Dan Smots of the System Is Down podcast.
I have heard of him.
Yes.
He's up
So
to good things.
he is up to trouble mostly. So, no, I was on that. Shit, what the hell was that? I did guest hosting off and on that, and then his timing didn't work out with mine ever. So I'd always thrown around the idea of starting it, and then COVID kicked off, and it's just like, you know what? More people need to be talking about this. Yes, there is a saturation of podcasts, especially like liberty-minded podcasts out there, but I feel like, especially at the time, more and more podcasts were getting shut down. So it's like the more people that can talk about this, the less that they can shut down.
Yeah. And it really became like an emergency. You know what I mean? Like you have to get the signal out. So like pre-COVID, I was like, I don't know. There's enough people talking about taxation and stuff, whatever.
Right.
Philosophy. But I really feel like post that, we really just need to like open it up, connecting nodes. Yeah, more the merrier.
Yeah, and there was like several online forums that got started in the mix of that. Like, hey, we all need to band together. Yeah, in a way, all the different podcasts kind of compete for each other's viewers and stuff, like trying to be the number one dog or whatever. But at the time, and still, I think since then, it was like, no, we all got to come together because we are such a small number in this sea of everybody screaming like lockdowns and masks and vaccines and stuff. It's like, oh, we can't like push against each other. We got to like kind of band together as a community, as a like-minded community, because there's so far and few, it seemed like. But then once people started to band together, it was just like, oh, there's actually a lot of people out here that are thinking the exact same way. If we could just get them all together, that'd be freaking fantastic.
Yeah, dude, that's literally the only way. And it's not like, I don't know, to do this for anything other than, I mean, yeah, it'd be cool to like, cash in, whatever, monetize your podcast. That's all good.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, I know I'm like whatever fourth tier. I don't know, podcast, Liberty podcast. It's way down there, whatever it is. But I know, there's people in the first tier, maybe second, that like it's still a struggle. You know what I mean? I know lots of Monica Perez, for instance, is like up there for me with Dave Smith. Like her podcast is so valuable, and I know it's a struggle for like your shadow band. You should these people should be getting way more hits than they do. And they keep cranking it out. They keep putting out content, free content. And so there's no like easy path to like celebritarianism. You know what I mean? I don't know. Just
right.
Keep cranking it out. Have some fun.
No, if you come and try to do this to make money, you're doing it wrong. I mean, at the end of the day, it'd be nice to make money doing this, but if your intent going into it was, hey, I want to go be a podcaster or a YouTuber or whatever and make some money, this is the wrong path, because we're kind of we're not really speaking to the people that support the people that pay out in this kind of field.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I did know that Dan is your brother, and you guys are absolutely, both of you are crushing it with your own show and now with the Two Scoops. And I just think, man, everything in-house, your merch, your graphics, it's just like, if you're going to do it, that is the way to do it. So, cheers to you guys.
My whole thought was at the beginning of the day, even before I had a single listener, I was like, I'm going to go and do this as best as I can. And as I'm going to make this look like something that I want to listen to before I start it. I mean, there are people that get into it with like whatever they have, and that's fine. If you start with like a freaking computer mic or whatever, and you get into it and work your way up, that's fine. But my whole thought was, I'm going balls to the wall, and I want to make something that I want to listen to before I ever put anything out to the public. And so that's just my theory on it, and that it works out. I enjoy listening to it, even if nobody else does. So that's all that matters to me.
Yeah, it's fun, dude. People pay a lot of money for therapy, $100 an hour or whatever. So it just sometimes, I don't know about you, it's just, again, it's like about communication. You can learn a little bit. You can feel better about, your day. Just like, I don't know. Yeah, it's important.
Yeah, you get to unload a lot of shit off your chest, and that's really all that it's all about. So, and you get to meet a lot of cool people in the process. So, Dave, when I asked you to come on, I asked, do you want to talk about Italy's far right election bullshit that's going on, or do you want to bash on wokeness? And you're like, I really like to bash on wokeness, and I'm like, all right, let's do it.
I
So
feel like it's all connected, though. You know,
it is, and
it's full circle.
it really is. And I'm going to actually at the end of the show, I pulled up an article just to make it go back full circle with, because we can't leave out the Italy far right stuff, but I want to start with the wokeness stuff first, because I mean, it's just everywhere. It's just in your face. It's brainwashing at its finest. Like the phrase wokeness, or the term wokeness, is almost like it's just ironic, because the people that are the most woke are the most brainwashed, which means they're the most asleep, in my opinion. So it just, like, the term wokeness is just it's an oxymoron to me.
Well, this is one of the things that they do, and I'm not sure how old you are, but there was a time when woke was like awake was the thing. Are you awake or are you asleep? Right? That was the first thing, and then I think that kind of morphed into like, oh yeah, that shit's woke. If you said woke maybe 12 years ago, I don't know. Time's getting crazy for me, but at some point that was not the shitty
right
connotation that it is now. So that's what they do. They destroy the language, and then they turn it into, you know, whatever. But yeah, right now wokeness is.
Yeah, the first time I was accused of being woke was I was talking some, like, just randomly conspiracy type stuff, just talking through it as I do, and somebody's like, "Whoa, aren't you woke?" And so yeah, it's crazy that how it's completely changed. Like the crazy conspiracy theorists were the woke people 7-8 years ago, but now if you say woke, it's part of this conforming to this whatever societal norm, non-norms. You can't even call it societal norms, because it's ultimately the breakdown of societal norms.
There's no such thing as societal norms, I don't think.
No,
you know.
if you even utter the phrase societal norms, you're some kind of bigot and racist, homophobe, whatever. If you even suggest that there are societal norms out there, and so I mean, it's the societal norm is to be anti-societal norm now, which again, it's oxymoron. It's so. It just goes so against itself. And that's why I wanted to eventually get into the point where we're talking about how the woke are eating themselves, because you can't continue down this trajectory where you accept everything and everyone in every mental delusion. And I'm going to get myself in a lot of trouble for some of the things I'm going to say on this, because again, at the end of the day, it's my show, and whatever that's what we're here to give our opinions, not to cater to everybody out there. So, and God knows they're not catering to us. So, but if you continue this course where everybody accepts everybody's delusion, well, eventually they're going to attack themselves, because one person's ideology does not mix with another. And you can't just mush them all together and say, hey, just everybody agrees with all of this. And if you disagree with it, you can't question it. And at the end of the day, they start cannibalizing themselves.
Well, yeah, again, man, the language is really important, and to like have a foundation of, I don't know if we want to call it like societal norms, but there's got to be like a reality, I suppose, right? Like parents have to give truth to their kids, or the kids will be fucked. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like they will have even more awful kids. Yeah, and then we'll just lose reality. I don't think it'll take long. One generation. You know,
no,
said.
We are definitely headed down that path. You asked, you said you didn't know how old I was. I'm 37, so I grew up in the 90s. Late 80s, early 90s. When I was growing up, whether it was bad or good, you had that pushback against whatever weirdness, I guess. I like the weird people, the weird kids, and whether, again, there's good side to that and there's bad side to that. But at the end of the day, I'd say the pushback I got in my upbringing is what caused me to be able to interact in society in like a normal human manner, like be able to have a conversation with somebody I don't agree with, or accept who I am for what I am. Because I mean, you can be called weird without changing who you are. But a little bit of pushback, and I use this analogy in just about every kind of argument. it's like going to the gym. If you don't have a little bit of tension on your weights, you're not going to build anything up. So if you don't have any pushback on what you consider your identity, then you're not going to have any clue what your identity is, because you're never going to have to argue that fact with anybody. So you're just never going to really solidify your identity in yourself. You're just like, this is who I am, and nobody pushes back, and you're like, well, and you see just this mass confusion in like the Generation Z or whatever they're calling them these days. It's just like they don't fucking know what they are because they have no pushback on it. So it's just like one day I am this, and one day I'm like a freaking werewolf. Who freaking knows? Because nobody will tell me that I'm freaking weird. And yes, there are bullies out there, and I had plenty of them growing up, but I feel like there's a balance to being called freaking weird sometime in your life.
There's a line.
Yeah.
And that's like that. I don't know how many. I feel like the no bullying thing has been going on for multiple decades now. So like, I feel like I was going to say it's, they can start off with good intentions, but I don't even know if it's good intentions. I just think it's like part of the long con. But the bullying thing is like, you're right, dude. Like I was the runt of the litter in like high school, like around my friends. You know what I mean? It's just like the fact. So you kind of like just grow up with the chip on your shoulder, a little scrappier. But like, I don't know, man. At some point in life, you have to choose to be cool or to be a dickhead. Right? Yeah. So like if you choose to be cool, then you can like adapt, and like that will make you probably funnier, and like maybe people will want to be around you, and then you can be more social, and that can, there's ways to get around it. But yeah, nihilism is a motherfucker. So if you like you said, it's good to get pushed a little bit. It's good when you get a new job, right? On a construction site or something, like the new guy might just get fucked with a little bit.
Yeah.
That's not evil. You know what I mean?
It teaches you to be better at your job. It teaches you to be able to get along with your coworkers. And I don't know. Again, like you said, there's a line. Obviously, don't be a straight up dickhead. And like, I don't know. But a little, like I was in the military, and I'd say the most social development, like being able to develop social skills I got was in the military, because people are going to talk shit to you and treat you like shit constantly. And adapting to that is what made me be able to be able to pretty much approach any situation and any person, be like, look, I am who I am. Who gives a fuck? And if I feel like if I didn't go through that experience in the military, where there was quite a bit more pushback than in normal situations in my upbringing, I wouldn't be able to succeed in society the way that I feel like I have. So I don't know. I just feel like just a little bit of pushback. And nowadays we have, and we've been hearing about this it's not like a current thing, but the whole safe space scenario, where it's just like, if somebody's mistreating you, you got your safe space. You can go, you don't have to deal with it. And this was like in school, kids growing up didn't have to deal with any sort of pushback, any sort of like conflict. So they didn't learn conflict resolution out there. So they didn't learn how to, like be in society, because we all said, at least I said when this was all coming out, this whole safe space stuff, like, oh, we don't want any sort of like pushback against what they feel. We can't hurt their feelings. We can't trigger them or whatever. I'm like, yeah, wait till they get in the real world. They're not going to be able to handle society. And I have this video, Dave. I don't know if you've seen this video. I feel like this is somebody that grew up in safe spaces.
Yeah, I can't calm down. I can't be fucking touched.
I didn't touch you, man.
I was raped not that long ago, and I can't stand another man touching me.
Well, no one did that.
I just can't.
Is this a prank?
I can't. He won't go away. He needs to go away. He's the fucking problem.
I need to leave.
No, welcome. No, take it to
I still got. Okay. She threw some of my stuff.
Okay.
Where's she stuff? Hell if I know. I'm so sorry.
No, you're not sorry.
She wasn't sorry when she cut in line and then screamed.
I didn't see you.
To make it. I just asked her if she saw anyone in line. That's an adult.
What do you think about that? This goes on for a while, and she just goes nuts and starts screaming. I don't want to blow my earbuds out, so I'm not going to continue. I mean, there's like she says, I was raped not too long ago, so there is that. Like she probably has some PTSD in there, but the story of this is apparently she cut in front of him. He's like, ma'am, did you not see the line here? And she freaked the fuck out like that. He didn't touch her, according to him, and she just freaked out. And I feel like it's just like that is somebody who has never been taught conflict resolution before.
Yeah, man. And I think that there's millions more of those people than there are of, like, say, libertarians.
Yeah.
So, like,
scary,
that's really challenging. Like, they are a huge voting block.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those are the people who really, like, propel the COVID insanity. You know what I'm saying? She's still wearing that mask.
Right. At Walmart, no less. It's like God knows what kind of germs you're picking up on the shopping carts, on every door handle, and I mean, you've seen the people Walmart videos, I'm sure, or pictures. That mask ain't helping you too much, lady. But yeah, you saw that during COVID, just like people just losing their goddamn minds because somebody wasn't conforming to what they thought was safe, or they weren't wearing a mask, or I don't know, we're within 6 feet of social distancing. And it's just like, we don't know how to have a damn conversation anymore. We don't, like, if somebody said to me, excuse me, the line's back here, my response would be like, oh, my bad, or whatever. I mean, I'm a pacifist for the most part. I'm like, even if I didn't cut in front of him, I've been like, yeah, you're probably right. Goodbye. And walk behind him. Who fucking cares? This lady has clearly never experienced any sort of conflict that she's had to deal with, or she has some serious emotional things she needs to really work out.
It's crazy, man. And, you know, I will approach all these crazy ass people with empathy. Like, I am sorry that you're crazy. You know,
yeah.
But the rest of society can't bend to crazy people, or we're all going to pay for it.
But that's the whole point of this episode. It's like, that's what they want, is us to conform to, and like utter insanity. And some of it's like I feel like we made strides, because like when I was in school, if you were gay, I didn't know it because you were forced into some sort of closet. I don't give a shit if you're gay. Am I gay? No. If you're gay, I don't care. And I do feel bad about the people that did have to stay in some, like, there are several people that have come out since I was in high school that I was like, I had no clue. I had no freaking clue. Would I have cared? Probably not. I might have given them a little bit of shit, but I wouldn't have cared. But we've come and surpassed and like completely jumped the shark when it comes to accepting homosexuality.
Was it a slippery slope, bro? Is that what you're saying?
There was no slippery. It was just like jumping off a freaking cliff. It's like, yeah, we need to accept. And while we're at it, let's accept the entire utter insanity while we're at it. Like, and it's gotten to this whole point where, you know, we shouldn't even like tell a kid that they're male or female at birth. We shouldn't allow the doctors to say what if you're male or female at birth, because I know I've got this article here that says, don't let the doctor assign a gender to your newborn. For what? Like, what is this hurting? Like, this is supposed to be some total like bigotry and some total oppressive world we're living in, because we let the doctor and they even said to input his own opinion on the gender of this baby. Because it says it's a strange hypothetical scenario to imagine. Pressure to accept a medical treatment, no tangible proof of its necessity, its only benefits conferred by the fact that everyone else already has had it, and coming at a terrible expense to those 1 or 2% who have had a bad reaction. Sounds kind of like COVID vaccines, but that's not what they're talking about. Says, except they already do. The imaginary treatment I described above is real. Obstetricians, doctors, and midwives commit this procedure on infants every single day in every single country. In reality, this treatment is performed almost universally without even asking the parents' consent. It's called infant gender assignment. When the doctor holds your child up in the harsh light of delivery room, looks between its legs and declares his opinion. It's a boy or a girl based on nothing more than a cursory assessment of the offspring's genitals. Opinions.
Oh my gosh. Follow the science.
Yeah. What happened to trust the science? Because, like, on one hand, the same people are screaming trust the science when it comes to COVID, but on the other hand, they're like, this is just this doctor's mere opinion that he just happens to look at this person's genitalia and says, this is a boy.
This is terrifying. Again, man, yeah, one generation of doing this to kids, like not assigning gender at assigning. I said it, assigning gender. Stop it. Yes, hold up the baby and tell the mom what it is.
Yeah. Like, what do they want? To say, hey, it's got a penis. I mean,
call it whatever you want, lady. It's got a penis.
It's got something hanging.
I'll let you
its
decide.
leg. You decide. No,
Right.
she can't even decide, because then that would be her
No consent.
pushing her beliefs and opinions on the child. So we got to wait till they're in their formative years, like 4 or 5 years old, and be like, you know what? I know that thing is between your legs, but that's nothing. Don't just ignore
would like
that.
to know. I'd like to know this lady's opinion on circumcision. Of course.
Oh, yeah, that's a slippery slope there. It says male and female aren't particular things. They aren't real, and they certainly they have nothing to do with what genitals your baby has. They're merely a doctor's opinion, and he's stepping completely over the line by forcing his opinion on the baby.
Oh my God. This is a Christian. Did I see that? Rethinking Christianity or something?
It's called standtoreason.org, str.org. Yeah, it says clear thinking Christianity. Yeah, you're right. I missed that part.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're jumping so many hurdles with this one.
Yeah, they're going for it.
Like, I feel like we've completely digressed as society, because back in the 50s or 60s, and I've probably given this analogy or this thought on this show, but I'm going to say it again because it's my show. Back in like the 50s and 60s, if a little boy decided to like play with a doll or wear a dress, his dad would be like, stop being a fucking Nancy, and be like, and call him a little girl. Because of that, he's like, what are you, some sort of fucking girl? And then I think by the time I was growing up, I think we had actual progression, where a little boy like 3-4 years old can play with a doll or put on a dress for a few minutes, and people would be like, oh, that's funny, ha ha ha, or oh, that's a tomboy, call a girl. I mean, we grew up with the phrase tomboy. I don't know what the boys term for it was, but you had where it was more socially acceptable to be a boy and do more feminine things, or be a girl and do more masculine things and be fine with it. Now we've completely come back full circle, and if a little boy wants to play with a doll or put on a dress, he's a fucking girl again. It's like, how is that progression? We're back to square one, where we're calling him a Nancy and saying, oh, this must be a girl.
And it took multiple, like you said, multiple generations to get here. It's almost like, like the strong men will lead revolution, and then it will create good times, and then the good times create the weak men. It's like that, dude. It's just like
the weak men create little girls, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, that's we are in the collapse of the empire. I think this is what happens when empires fall.
Yes, absolutely. Like, and the scary part is we've hyper focused now on the children, because it was like people coming out in high school or people coming out in their adult years, and now we have hyper sexualized, I think, in a way, the children. And that's the scary part to me, because again, they're in their most developmental stages, where their brains soak up everything you put in them like little sponges. And so we give them this whole thought that it's just like, you know what, there is no boy, there is no girl, and God knows your genitalia doesn't decide that. Like, we're putting this in, like, how can you develop as a child without having certain structural societal norms implemented on you?
Yeah, man. That's what I'm saying. You have to, what's that? I love the movie The Crow, and I think I'm going to butcher the quote, but it's, like, mother is, what is it? The word of God is what the mother speaks, like, according to the child, something like that. Meaning, like, you are literally laying down the foundation for your kids, right? Of reality. So if you're living in an upside down, then that's what you're going to give to your kids. And I feel like that's what's happening now. Parents taking kids in the name of wokeness, right? Taking kids to drag queen story hour, or worse, like drag queen
I was
bar hour.
about
Like,
to ask you. I was just about to ask you, what do you think about kids in drag shows?
I think, well, I don't know. Just weigh it out. There's the good and the bad. No, it's the worst fucking thing ever, dude. I don't know. It's, man, your brother and I were talking about this with another libertarian on his show the other day, and it's weird that the results aren't in yet. Like, people aren't sure about this. You know what I'm saying?
It's kind of like the COVID vaccine. We don't know the long-term effects. We know the short-term effects. Oh, we're starting to figure out the couple months out effects, but we're denying those effects. But we won't know the long-term effects until like 50 years down the road. You're not going to know the long-term effects of pretty much like this image here. This is a 5-something-year-old girl sticking dollar bills in the underwear of a mostly naked man dressed as a female, I guess, or drag queen or something. How is this acceptable? I don't care what your opinion is of transgenderism, of drag queens, whatever. How is it acceptable to have a stripper at a child event with kids sticking money down their underwear?
It's only acceptable if it's a trans person.
Yes, I was going to
say,
like strip clubs are called adult entertainment for a reason. What is the difference between what is going on in this image here and a strip club? And a side tangent, wasn't just like not too long ago, strip clubs are pretty much misogynistic and exploitative and stuff. But this is socially acceptable, and now we're involving children here. How? Explain.
Right. And the regime libertarian answer is, well, you can shame them, the parents, that is, but nothing to do. I don't know, man. This is some shit that has to be dealt with. Like, it's not okay. And whatever you have to do we don't live in Ancapistan. That's what I remember. Libertarian brethren, we do not live there or anywhere close. We live in the greatest empire in the history of the world. So you got to do with what you got. And
well, there's the whole libertarian mantra of if you're not hurting somebody, it's not a crime, victimless crime. What about the development of a child? Like, how are you harming this child's mentally, not only from like sexualization? Because I mean, this is a kid putting dollar bills in the pants of an adult. What about the ones where the kids are dancing around and adult men are throwing dollar bills at them? It's like, you're saying we're not harming them in some way mentally here?
Absolutely. Absolutely, dude. And look, it looks like parents in the background there. I don't know. It's fucking
yeah,
awful.
the parents are has a cell phone. It looks like the mom taking a picture with a big old smile on her face, and there's balloons in the background. Like, this is the kid's birthday party, and they
birthday party, right? And this is, again, man, I don't know when they started. Like, I remember it was probably like 94. Remember Matthew Shepard? That was like the first hate crime. That kid was like a gay kid who was like, beat to death. Some Midwest town. MTV made it, they talked about that for like years. Again, this was like, and back then, dude, it was like, holy shit, like, I've never heard of this. Like, who would do that to, that was the, man, and it's just like the end result of that push, right? Like, that's like the start of, like, I don't know, man. We don't need to go off on like a hate crime tangent, but like, it's just doesn't make it worse to murder somebody because you hate them. Like, it's murder, right?
Yeah,
so
murder's murder. Either way,
murder is murder. But they, they're really great at attaching your empathy, like your natural human empathy, to like a cause, right? So like attach it, and I feel like maybe that's, those people my age that have kids that are growing up now, and they're just like the bastardized version of that, like Multiplicity with Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
It just, starts off maybe with good intentions, and then, man, you end up with like this absolute just demonic shit.
Yeah. So what's the agenda behind like this part here? And I mean, we're talking a lot about the trans stuff because that's what's in the news right now. If you would have asked like a couple years ago, it would have been the gay rights, or it just, the movement evolves with it, and it just keeps getting further. In 2 years from now, we'll probably be having the same conversation about like unspeakable things with acts with animals. I'm sure it's coming around. Like we're just sliding into total degeneracy, in my opinion. And again, I could give a shit if you're gay, you're trans, you think you're a fucking horse. If you're dancing around practically naked in front of my kid or any kid and they're sticking dollar bills down your pants, that's fucking wrong. I don't care what you think you are.
Yeah. And I'm with Dave Chappelle that the T's are ruining it for the L's and the B's and the G's. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what it should be. Should be the LGB. I think that's what it was. The LGB movement. LGB movement. Yeah.
Yeah.
The T's are fucking it up, bro. You can even throw the Q's in there. But yeah, there's something really off about. Okay, it's off enough if you're born in the wrong body. Hey, I'm born a man, want to be a woman, and I'm gonna fucking do whatever I have to do to make that happen so that I can live life as a woman, or the reverse, right? But to want to stay in like a purgatory area, or like even weirder where you're like, well, this week I feel like this week I feel like that, and you have to acknowledge that, and you have to call, it's really, really
well, that's what happens when you get put in this position where there is no definitive, like there is no, like you're not allowed to make assumptions, or you're not allowed to make decisions, because I mean, you see it. What was that? The actress, who was the actress that like came out as by like gender fluid or something, then turned around and she didn't change anything.
Yeah. Elliot Page.
No, it was the Disney girl that came out like last year, and then all of a sudden turned around. She's like, "No, I'm not that anymore." It's just like, wow, you just got on the cover of Pink magazine, and then turned around. And you're like, "No, I just want to go back." And it's just like,
it's in fashion.
Yeah, it's a trend. It absolutely is a trend. And I've seen this. My kids are in public school. I apologize for that, but I've seen it with my daughter's friends. It's like they all have to be something. Not like it's unfashionable to just be like a straight white kid. And again, I could care less if whatever.
Have you considered rapping? You should try rapping.
I know one of her friends at least does rapping.
Yeah. Cool.
So, but it's just not cool to be just a cisgender or whatever. When did that phrase?
Not only is it not cool, but yeah, you're not really allowed to do that anymore. You're certainly not allowed to have any opinions.
Yeah, you're just a straight white chick. Who cares?
Yeah, that's unfortunate. And I feel bad because it's hard enough being a teenager. Like it always is. I remember what it was like to be 15. Can you imagine if you were 15, dude, and you could go to like the guidance counselor and they would like affirm whatever the fuck you said?
Yeah.
Yo,
not only affirm it, but may pressure you to be something else. A lot of times, that's what society is like. Are you sure you're not this? It's like, no, I'm just kind of having a hard time right now. Demi Lovato, that's who it was. Shannon piped in. So, yeah, it's just like, are you sure you're not? No, but you could be this or this or this or this and this and this and this, and we haven't even touched like gender pronouns and stuff like that. Like, man, grammar was hard enough to learn when we had two fucking pronouns. Now
the language, man.
Yeah. Now, excuse me. Now what are we supposed to? Now what are kids supposed to do? And I don't know. I feel like if somebody's like, no, I don't want to be called Jill, I want to be called James, and you're like, no, fucker, I'm gonna call you Jill, then you're just being a dickhead.
Sure,
but to expect somebody to be like if somebody's like, oh, him, and you're like, actually, it's Zer, you hateful bigot. It's like, what the fuck does that even mean?
That's what I'm saying. I'm curious if we'll look back in 20 years and go, like that, like what we're talking about will be obsolete, or we'll look back and go, what the fuck was everybody thinking? Like, what was this phase? Like, I hope to God that that's what we will do.
Well, I feel like it's getting so far out of hand that, and I'll probably talk more about this as we go when we get into them actually literally eating themselves, but it's getting so far out of hand that it's got to shift drastically back, because you're going to get those people that were like, oh, we're kind of on board with this. Yeah, this is fine. And then it's going to get to the point where it's like, what the fuck? No. Okay, we're not doing that. And because we're not doing, we're just going to throw it all out. Just scrap it all because this is all ridiculous now. And I feel like we're getting there. You're getting enough people that are like, when you see like drag strippers dancing for children, you get enough people that are like, no, fuck it. This whole trans movement is ridiculous, obviously. And this, I mean, even if you support trans rights and stuff, this puts a very negative light on the trans movement or the LGBTQ plus RST, whatever movement, to the point where people are just going to see this and be like, oh, they're all fucking perverts. Let's just back up over here. And it's just going to shift back hard to the right or whatever direction, I guess, to where it's like, no, fuck all of it.
That's it. That's the perpetual pendulum swing. And that is what I've been saying lately, is that when this comes back, and it absolutely will, probably with Trump, like, dude, the hammer that gets brought down will be righteous.
Yeah.
You know, because I've driven through middle America, right? I know I live in a blue area, whatever, but most of America is not Biden country. It's Trump. It's Trump country. I don't care what you want to call it. That's what it is. It's rural, conservative America. That is the majority of the landscape. And I'm not even that. And I'm triggered. Like, these people have me like wanting some fucking justice. So I can't imagine what it's doing to like the Southern evangelical right. Like you might even call it the hard right. Like, I don't know. I don't know what those people fucking do. That's not my, but I know that if I'm triggered, people are pissed. People have to be pissed, dude.
At the same time that they're triggering the hard right, whatever, they're also demonizing the evangelicals. I mean, they're coming out and calling them Christian nationalists and saying like the whole raising your hands in prayer is like salute the Nazi salute and all this bizarre. So it's a two-front war they're playing on this, because it's like, first we're going to throw this in your face and piss you off, and then we're going to call you a bunch of Nazis at the same time. So when you do get upset about this, we already know you're Nazis, so that's why you hate this.
Yep. Through chaos, order. You know what I mean? That's what they'll do perpetually, right? It's just like kind of like that meme where the thing is poking the guy, like do a civil war. Like they just kind of like get what they need that way.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to get into, we got a couple more minutes before I take a break. And I want to get into, like I said at the beginning, at the end of the day, you can't just lump it all together and say, you do what you want, because they all start eventually eating themselves, because they want more. They want this person to be recognized or that person. It cracks me up that the same side that pushed feminism pushes the trans rights, because they clash so hard with each other, because now you have like trans athletes that are beating out female athletes, and it's just like you see the feminist outrage, and it's just like, what do you do? You guys we're part of this movement from the beginning, and you pushed this off the cliff where it went, and now we're here where it's just like, well, us feminists, and they're calling them, what did they call them? I don't know. Basically, Nazi feminists, I guess, far right feminists, which I didn't even know that was a thing, because feminism came out of the progressive movement. So now to be called like Nazi feminists, that's just hilarious to me. But I got this BuzzFeed article that talks about lesbians protesting the gay pride parade in London, because lesbians apparently don't like the trans movement. So this is just a little clip that they posted on it. It says lesbians protest London Pride in 2018. So this is a while ago, but it says the trans movement, this is a quote. It says the trans movement, with the complicity of queer LGBT politics, is coercing lesbians to have sex with men. We firmly condemn this vicious form of anti-lesbianism designed as progress. We stand for the rights of lesbians to choose their sexual partners on the basis of their sex, not their gender identity. We condemn any pressure on lesbians, such as rape and death threats, or calling lesbians transphobic if they refuse so-called trans women as sexual partners, and do not accept the penis as a female organ. These threats, this is the best part, these threats and name-calling, oh, no, this isn't it, but it says, are coercive and manifestation of rape culture. So it says, the trans movement is a conservative movement which reinforces sexist sex stereotypes.
You know, I've heard that before. Like countries like Thailand and stuff that like really hate gay people so much, they rather dudes who are gay be women. You know what I mean? So
Just,
like there's
fix
probably
the whole
some truth
thing
to that.
Yeah, just if you like dudes, just go turn yourself into a woman, and then you're no longer gay because it's male on female sex. And yeah, like
the conservatives in these countries don't have to feel weird when they are going down on that chick's penis.
no, you still feel weird, I think. Maybe not. I don't know.
You might.
They went on to say, we oppose the transition of young lesbians on the basis that the appearance of or behavior does not conform to society accepted images of women. So they're basically saying, like, butch lesbians are fine and whatever, to each their own. And to pressure them into transitioning from a female to a male because they're a butch lesbian, then you're just pushing against, or you are just supporting this whole conservative concept of, well, a guy looks like this and a girl looks. It's back to what I was saying. It's like if you dress like a boy, well, obviously you are a boy. So we're going back to 1950s politics here, and that's what they're saying. It's like it's so ironic that they say the trans movement is conservative movement. It's just like,
yeah, I don't know about that.
Is even going on?
I'm trying to help them there, but that is kind of a reach that the trans movement, is a conservative movement. But yeah, those lesbians should lighten up. You know, don't be a transphobe. Give it a shot.
Yeah, don't be so hateful of that dick between that woman's legs. I guess
we do not view the penis as female genitalia. All right, well, I don't know if your doctor said that when you were born, but.
Yeah, that's bigotry, like these bigoted lesbians. So talk to me a little about talk to me about the woke culture eating themselves, because I feel like they can't coexist with each other. They have that whole you've seen the coexist bumper sticker. Yeah. I feel like the people that are coexisting the least right now are the woke people, because they can't make it work.
Yeah, dude, I saw a great video. It's somebody like a cell phone video the other day. It was probably like Portland, Oregon, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But this white lady got cut off by some like Native American dude, and she yelled at him. They get out of the car, and they had like a oppression Olympics. Like she was like the aggressor first, but then he busted out started calling her colonizer and shit like that. And it was just like, whoa, oh man, like it was no longer about traffic.
So what takes more precedence, the racism or the misogyny? Because like which one's higher on the scale of victimhood?
Well, you know what? That's and this aligns kind of with the trans movement. Like once she was made aware of his, oppression,
mm-hmm.
then she toned it down. She learned a woman's place. It was like, that's what I'm saying. Like she toned it down. And she was just like, look, well, maybe if you wouldn't have done that, then I wouldn't have said it. And you need to think about your own. And he kept, he laid into her.
Mm-hmm. And then she made him a sandwich because he was Native American.
Yeah, she owed him. Here's one sandwich. But yeah, it is this like it's like this kind of like bizarro mirror. Like all the feminism you got all the feminism you possibly wanted, and now chicks are dudes and dudes are rocking your sports. Congratulations.
I mean, and dudes are getting Women of the Year accolades on magazines and shit. It's just like,
yeah,
men are better at being women than women are, apparently.
Long live the patriarchy, dude.
Exactly. That's all this is. It's a conservative conspiracy to make men back at the top. That's what this trans movement is. I mean, the lesbian said it, so I should be able to say it. Well, I mean, it's bizarre to me. It's hard enough to wrap my brain around it, but to try to wrap my brain around it from their perspective of trying to wrap their brains around it and be woke while still like arguing their cause with somebody of another cause, but that's supposedly the same cause. It's no wonder that the prevalence of mental illness is just so high right now. Is because, I mean, people are just, well, first of all, they're started at a young age. It's mushed into their brain right now. And then they get to this age of like that Walmart woman where they don't know how to interact in society. And then you throw them all together and they try to argue who's more of a victim. It's just like, dude, my brain can't keep up. I can't imagine how your brain keeps up with it.
Yeah, man. And I like the mental illness thing is really kind of terrifying because it's one of those things that like we can see it. We've already seen it in like the video clips tonight, and we know what COVID has done, you know, to exacerbate certain aspects of that. But I can definitely envision a day where, I mean, you see like, you know, your most hated politician is talking about mental health too. You know what I mean? So they're using that the double side of that. Those COVID contact tracers could probably be used to like, you know, stop in and check on people's mental health or things like that. Attach that to the red flag laws and things like that. See something, say something.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's scary on itself. Like anybody that's got a history of mental illness from a doctor right now can't legally purchase or possess a firearm. So let's get this brain chip in there. It's like, yeah, something's a little off with the serotonin levels in your brain. So you probably shouldn't own a firearm right now. And it's just like, man, there's so many rabbit holes we could go down with this, and we could be here all night, I guess. It is about time to get into a break. You got a little bit longer to chat about this after the break?
Yeah, no doubt.
All right. We usually take 4 or 5 minutes and I get myself something to drink, and then we'll come back and continue down this crazy trail and see if we can get kicked off YouTube again. So I'll be right back in just a few minutes.
Have you ever thought that maybe voting, maybe all this politics constantly surrounding you is not the way to achieve freedom in your life? Hi, I'm Remso W. Martinez, and I ask myself the same question. That's why I'm on a journey to find true freedom in my lifetime. From learning about financial independence, to new ways to develop rugged individualism, to amazing guests living strange, crazy, amazing lifestyles that you've only thought might be real, but actually are. Go ahead and check out my new show, On the Run with Remso W. Martinez at the We Are Libertarians Network. You can find On the Run with Remso W. Martinez on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play. You know how the internet works. Come on down and let's discover how to achieve real freedom in your life together.
Hey everybody, I just want to take this time to give a big shout out to the very first sponsor of the Break the Bell podcast. That is Goulash Media. They can be found at goulashmedia.net. Goulash Media specializes in graphic design, web design, audio recordings, video work, wedding videos, music videos, even political campaign videos. Goulash Media caters to the little guy with the big vision. You can check them out at goulashmedia.net. That's GOULASH media.net.
Time for you. You've got too much on your mind to be so conscious and not just believing every sorry thrown away. And it's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. We hold a candle like vigil for your self-respect. Reputation destroyed by what you can expect to be. still so much better to leave the light and drag it to your grave. Because you see what to make of this, how you can turn your own tables and work this, and take advantage of your failure like you planned to anyway. And it's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. We hold the candle like candle for your self-respect. Reputation destroyed by what you can expect to be. The faceless in between. You're still alive, but you've been dead inside for a long time. And I understand why. But you did this to yourself. You did this to them. You don't even remember the name. Why should anybody remember you? Why should anyone give you another shot? You know they won't. You know you deserve to be forgotten. Now you're everything you always despise. The moments you feel, the moments you despise. The moments everything's cover up what you've done. We already know. We already know. Wake up and be better before you. It's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. We hold the candle like candle for your self-respect. Reputation destroyed by what you can expect to be. The faceless in between. I know it's not a good time for you. You've got too much on your mind to be so conscious and not just believing every sorry thrown away. And it's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. We hold the candle like candle for your self-respect. Reputation destroyed by what you can expect to be. The faceless in between. Because I know you can handle it. To face the truth of the matter, it's still so much better to leave the light and drag it to your
All right, and I am back with Dave Casey of the Dave vs. Goliath podcast, and we're talking about the cannibalization of the woke culture, and then also, I guess you could call it the impending suicide of society as we know it, in my opinion, anyway. Do you think, Dave, it leads to our demise as a culture, or do you think it just like we were kind of talking, it just perpetually cycles like hard back the other direction? Like where do you see this going?
Yeah, I think it'll be a hardback. So like that'll probably mean it'll get rougher before it gets better. And in fact, probably the rest of our lives, dude, if we're being honest, you know, the 80s and 90s were as sweet as it's going to get. Let's say that. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's sad, but it's true. I watch things like Stranger Things, and I don't watch Stranger Things for like the sci-fi part of it. I watch Stranger Things for the nostalgia of like the 80s and 90s.
Ooh,
where
nostalgia is so hot right now. They're trying to keep us there, like the Matrix, right?
Mm-hmm.
You believe the year is 1999. You know, like the peak, that was the peak, because pretty much 2001, ground zero, that's the epicenter of the emergency state and everything that would come, you know, everything that sucks after that.
Yeah, we talked about that quite a bit on our 9/11 episode, and since then, of how nothing that we're going through now could have happened with the COVID restrictions and all the like sacrificing our rights. None of that would have happened if it wasn't for 9/11 and
No way.
the obliteration of our rights then. Because I mean, we were pushing hardcore, and we've kind of been on this sort of path in our episodes. They just all kind of tie back together. We talked about how the anti-government sentiment of the 1990s, and how there was actually quite a bit of, it seemed like maybe we're going to win at one point. And then Oklahoma City happened, and people started like going underground, and then 9/11 happened, and it's just like everything just went out the window. So if 9/11 didn't happen, I feel like maybe that progression we're getting against this like total like destruction of a government, maybe would have seen, we would have got to a point now in 2020, 2022, where we would not have cowered to the freaking oppression that we got under the freaking COVID lockdowns and shit.
Well, dude, this is like the worst part about government, in that, and there's no way to measure the potential that we've lost, like as a species, from what they've done. You know what I mean? But man, every step of the way, they inhibit human growth, natural flourishing, human thriving, and, anything that has to, again, government is just murder, nihilism, death. That's what it is. Anything else is public relations. So, yeah, when you think about just, like what could have been, dude, probably flying cars, all that shit right now, if they wouldn't have capped us at the knees every 10 or 20 years, right? Either through a financial crisis, just to, wipe out all the wealth, wipe it out, to steal the wealth. That's a really great way to do it. Obviously, monetary policy is their number one weapon. It's the way they fund all the wars and all the, that's how they truly do the consolidation game.
Sure.
Yeah, it's awful. It's fucking.
Let's move back to a little bit what we're talking about, because I wanted to talk about because I feel like we talked about how there was the line and then they just jumped off a cliff, and it's just like, where is the line when it comes to like acceptance and just accepting people for who they say they are or what they want to be or whatever? What is the line? Because right now, this is what we are dealing with right here.
Right.
This is a teacher in Canada, a teacher of students. We're talking about like the susceptibility of children and in teenage years, and how their brains are just mush and just like absorbing everything that's thrown at them. Then you throw this at them. This teacher with this isn't even real. This guy showed up. He was a male teacher one year, and then the next year he showed up with prosthetic size, I don't know, they said they were like 30 pounds each, prosthetic bosoms.
What do you think the odds are? And I only heard this like days after this story broke. But somebody said, what if this guy's trolling? Like that would be,
yes.
I just want to say that would be a great troll if that's what you're doing.
I have that, but I want to first talk about this guy, and then I want to talk about the possibility that this person's trolling, because, I mean, I'll get into it more, but what do you say to somebody even if they're trolling? You've pushed this line of you can't question it. So even if he was trolling, and it goes back, like even with like the gender neutral bathrooms, it's like you get some perv guy going into the gender neutral bathrooms and checking a chick out. It's just like, you gonna tell that guy that he doesn't identify as a woman? Because you've told us we can't tell them that no, they don't identify as a woman. So you set us up for failure. You set us up to not be able to question or push back in any way, shape, or form. And like in this guy's case, it's straight up illegal to push back against this guy in Canada. Like they have their hate laws are so ridiculous. It says Canadian high school says it's illegal to criticize trans teacher with huge prosthetic breasts, as it's claimed disturbed students are skipping her class, and the school board is refusing to address parents' concerns.
Dude, when I was in high school, they would send a girl home if her mini skirt came above, like whatever, it was too short.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You don't
get
to just
straps. You couldn't wear spaghetti straps. And this school has a no nipple dress code.
Yeah. I
mean,
this man is living out his sexual fetish in middle school or high school, bro.
But they said the dress code only applies to students. That's why they can't address this person with. And
my God.
And the other thing is there anything stating that this person can't show fake nipples because those aren't real nipples. So, I mean, yeah, you could say you can't show your nipples, and he'd be like, well, these aren't my nipples. These are fake nipples. So what do you do when you set up the law to prevent you from preventing this from happening in your schools? Like what like you got to the point where you have no solutions. You have no weapons against this now because you just outlawed everything by saying, oh, you can't question this. You can't question their identity. You can't question what somebody wears or how they feel like dressing. So this guy, girl, whatever, whether they're showing up like, yeah, I feel like a woman today, I'm going to wear these giant breasts, or yeah, I'm just a freaking psychopath or a perv and I want to see how far I can push that line. You can't do a goddamn thing about it.
Yeah, I think I just saw somebody in the chat say homeschool. That's what I was going to say. That's
Yep.
boom.
Jack Skellington says homeschool. That's what you do.
Bro, that is the only option because, yeah, and this is, I use this word to reach out to my Christian brethren out there. I'm not even religious, but this is demonic shit.
Yes.
This is fucking demonic shit. You can't do this to like kids. It's so fucked up. So I don't know what the thing is that has to be done other than never send your kid to like public school anymore. Because, I mean, Delaware doesn't have that guy, but we have some fucked up laws here, like where the school just like the schools and the administrators, the guidance counselors and shit, they don't give a shit about consent. They'll straight up like, dude, real quick tangent. Delaware lawmakers want to make sure that if the school sends a kid, like it advises them, yeah, like you can go here to get a procedure done, or it could be an abortion, or it could be maybe you want to have a mastectomy or something like that. Whatever, they found that the kids will put it on their parents' insurance. So that's bad for business. So they want to be able to use the insurance, but in the name of privacy, they won't tell you what the procedure was that they did to your kid.
So you have to pay for this, but you have no way of knowing what you're even paying for.
Yeah, and if you're not looking at your shit, you might not even know what they did.
That's fucking insane. I thought it was insane. I've got a 12-year-old daughter, or she's 14 now. But when she turned 12, she had to give the doctor permission to talk to us about the procedures that they were doing. And I thought that already rubbed me wrong. It's like, no, she's 12. It was 12 or 13. I can't remember which age. But yeah, it took her for a wellness checkup for school. And she's like, Mom, you can't come in the room unless she consents. Okay, she consents. Mom, do you consent to me disclosing this medical information to your mother? It's like my daughter's like, yes, I do. And my wife just kind of, she was a little off put by it, but when I found out, I was like, that's fucking bullshit. I can't. I'm not allowed to know what medically is being done to my. Like, at what point? I don't know when the law changed because minors weren't allowed to give medical consent under the age.
Minors can't consent to anything. So that's the logical argument to a lot of this stuff, right? It's like,
you can't go get a tattoo, but you can get your dick cut off.
So right, like that, I would say, and again, the regime libertarians would just say, well, it's the parents that gets up to them. But let me ask you a question. I'll propose this with you. Say your kid or some kid comes up to their parent and says, it's a boy. And they say, I am a girl. I believe I'm a woman. And they say, I believe you are too. So they go to the hospital or they go to the doctor, right? And the two of them say to the doctor, my son is a woman. And the doctor goes, yes, you are. Affirms the shit out of that, right? So now you have the trifecta.
Okay.
Now you have the trifecta, so it's okay, right? It's okay that doctor does harm. It's okay that mentally ill parent who didn't steer that kid right from birth now sends them off to be a fucking mutilated. I mean, talk about the wrong. Affirming is the word. It's your job to not affirm mental illness, right?
Right.
You don't do that. You do the opposite of that. So no matter what, I don't care. You can have all that consent to do that operation or give puberty blockers to that kid is you fucked up. No, that's wrong. It's wrong no matter who agrees.
Again,
it's okay.
Again, what are the long-term effects of even just puberty blockers of a child? Have we studied that? Like 20, 30, 40 years? Puberty blockers? I mean, I don't know that there's too many medical cases out there to study, but minus maybe Michael Jackson, and that's a really bad example. So I would venture down the route of saying that's fucking child abuse. And I've used this analogy so many times, and you almost can't even use this analogy anymore. I'm like, no, say somebody comes to you and says, you know what, I'm not a person, I think I'm a cat, and I'm going to act like a cat, and I'm going to shit in a cat box, and I'm going to lick myself, and I expect you'd call them, you'd say in the very least that they have some sort of mental instability there. But now we're almost to the point where we can't even use that analogy, because it's getting to the point where it's just like, oh, they said they're a cat, we gotta identify them as a cat. We're getting to that point where it's going to be that we have to affirm even that level of insanity.
Yeah, we went too far. Way too far.
Way too far. Jumped off the, like we said.
We really did. I mean, it's cool to say to your kid, yo, you can be whatever you want to be, man.
Yeah.
That's a great thing to say. But then the next generation gets that, but like a perversion. It's like, I can literally live as any being that I can. It only comes when, like, you know, you have so much abundance. There's so many ingrates that never had a job, never worked anything, never built anything, never, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like an emptiness. It can only come from that, dude, I think.
Like, your kid can say, I think I can fly, all you want. And you can say all you want. Yeah, that's nice, honey. But the second you say, yeah, go ahead and jump off that house, you're kind of responsible for the fact that they crashed and broke both their legs, I would think.
Yeah.
Maybe not in today's society, because you affirmed that, yes, they were an airplane and they could fly. So maybe you are the brave hero that they want you to think you are. But at the end of the day, your child broke both of his legs.
You are responsible because you're the parent, and that is your kid.
I think there's a far darker agenda even than just mass confusion and insanity. I think I feel like there's some sort of population control agenda when it comes to all this stuff, because we're like totally doing away with like normal
nature, dude. We're doing away with nature.
Exactly. Normal natural reproduction. Ooh. Like is becoming taboo now.
Yeah.
When you
oh man, look, you're noticing the feminization of men, the masculinization of women, the blurring of the lines. And I'm sorry, but those are really important lines. Man
look
and
at
woman. It's everything.
Look at the rest of nature. How much of the rest of nature is just like, no, I don't fucking feel like.
Yeah, no, you can be whatever you want to be, man. Even in nature, you'll find it. It's whatever, man.
Yeah. Those species are extinct right now. Ooh. Because they didn't want to fuck enough. Let's get back to this teacher, though, because you kind of hit the nail on the head when you said, is this just a freaking scam? Because I found this meme here. Or not a meme, this post on Twitter. It says, apparently some anonymous student of this kid's class. It says, this dude is gaming the system. And Anon yesterday was in this dude's class. The teacher was almost fired for toxic masculinity last year, as well as not embracing woke culture. He dropped red pills to his class, such as how silly gender-neutral bathrooms are. The school board hates him. He's now upping the ante to exploit the very clown world the school and society created. His long game is most likely to get fired and then sue for discrimination. There is no other explanation, no better way to troll the clown world than to become an over-the-top caricature of a woman.
Ooh, well, once they find out he's a cis white male, he's fucked. But if they don't find that out,
but can they question him? They've set the system up to, like I was saying, you can't tell this guy that he's a scam artist, because that goes to get that's borderline illegal in Canadian laws, Canadian hate speech. If I say, no, you're fucking wrong, you're a dude, you're scamming the system, You can't say that. That guy could turn around tomorrow and take those fake boobs off and be like, you know what? I don't feel like a woman anymore, and go back to living his life like we were talking about Demi Lovato. And nobody can say a damn thing about it because you can't question it. You can't push back against it. You can't accuse them of faking or lying because that would be a hate crime.
Yeah, it sounds pretty sweet, actually.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? If that's what he's doing, I mean, that sucks that you're doing that in the school. It's still fucking there's kids around and
right.
But it's better. It's a better story than just that guy being a psychopath teacher.
But they set themselves up to just implode on themselves by going to this extreme, because this guy will get away with it because you can't do anything about it. He'll probably sue. He'll probably walk away with a lot of money, and he's the winner in all of this. And the only losers are, like you said, are the children. And not the, I mean, the school's out so a bunch of money, but it's their own damn fault for making their stupid policies, I guess.
Man, yeah, it sure is. I hope, Canada's even worse than here, man. I remember pre-COVID, Canada was looking pretty sweet.
Yeah, I remember all my like bug out plans involved heading for the northern border, and then COVID hit, and I'm like, no, I'm not going that way.
That's not the way, man. Definitely. I mean, man, everything changed since COVID. You definitely want to go south.
Yes.
The border, if you're bouncing.
So let's kind of shift a little bit, because I don't want to just bash on the trans thing and all that. It's the whole concept of the woke eating the woke, and they have no end game, really. It's just like, once you give a little, it's just, I want a little more. You got to keep going. You got to keep going. But first, I got this clip here. This is a video of, I don't know if they're students or what, but they're basically raiding a convenience store, because it's obviously a symbolism of oppressive capitalism. But I want you to watch this real quick, because this is hilarious to me.
Yeah.
So they're raiding this place because of its oppressive capitalism, obviously. And then she's like, "Are you going to make me a sandwich or what?
Making me the food? Come on, I'm starving.
Are you going to do this thing that you guys do? Like, we're so against this thing you do, but are you going to make me a sandwich?" And the person caves to it. And he's like, "Yeah, it's going to be a while." It's like, I'd be like, "Fuck no, I'm not going to make you a damn sandwich." It's like,
yeah, I'm quitting. Yeah, that's in Philly. I'm pretty sure at a Wawa. That's like 30 minutes from here. Awful, man. Just get out of the cities. This is one of the lessons from COVID. It's been 2 years. You should already, if you're still in the city, I don't know what you're doing, but my sister lives in Philly. I tell her every time I see her, get out.
Yeah, that's like a minor example of the people cowering to the demands of this insane culture that we're living in. And you saw that with the George Floyd riot. I mean, you saw the people that stood up against it and armed themselves against it, they were called Nazis and racists and stuff. But then the people that were like, "No, just trash my business, that's all fine. I beseech all my belongings to you." That's what we want, right? But at the end of the day, it doesn't typically work out too well, even for the people that the people that cower to it and cave to it and try to push this woke agenda. Did you hear about the woke coffee shop about a year ago, I think, called Mina's World?
No.
I think this is in Washington. No, this is in Philly too. So right up your alley. We're right in that area. So this is called Mina's World, and this is as woke. And for those of you who don't know, the coffee shop environment is pretty left-leaning already, I would think. But apparently it's not woke enough. So these people decided to go a step further and open this super woke coffee shop called Mina's World. It says less than 2 years ago, food and entertainment magazine Bon Appetit wrote a glowing review of Mina's World. Mina's World is about more than just drinks and decor, the outlet wrote. It seeks to be an alternate kind of coffee shop in Philly, one that pays its employees fairly, has black and brown employees in managerial positions, prioritizes ethical sourcing when it comes to its coffee beans, and never turns away a customer. In an interview for the same article, co-owner Sanam Parikh bragged about the business commitment to leftism, and she said it would put them above competitors. I have worked in coffee since I was 18, Parikh said. Most of the workplaces were really toxic in the sense the workers were not being paid well, and white ownership neglected to protect their black and trans employees. I knew there needed to be a space where you could have an amazingly made cup of coffee that's not whitewashed. Considering Starbucks is one of the most woke businesses in the country, it would seem there were spaces for leftists to get their non-whitewashed coffee about every other block in a large city like Philly. Nonetheless, Mina's World was committed to its mission. Fast forward to June, things started to look a lot bleaker for the woke coffee shop. In an Instagram post from an account named MW, or Mina's World Workers, a group of employees from Mina's World outlined their allegations against Parikh and her co-owner, Kate Eggert. This is what they said. This is the workers of this woke or all-inclusive coffee shop. Workers at Mina's World have long been in a labor rights struggle with owners Kate and Sanam for well over a year. We are facing systemic employer opposition, manipulation, abuse of power, exploitation, anti-blackness, ableism, hostility, and complete disgrace for our livelihoods. So the thing that they were supposedly setting this up against, they're now being accused of. Says, ironically, these allegations are exactly the type of behavior Parikh promised to avoid. A list of grievances later in the post also accused Mina's World of lack of financial transparency and tokenization as a way to appear safe by association. So making them their token woke people, which is all this ever is to begin with. It says, however, arguably the most shocking part of the post was the list of demands. It says they demanded the owner admit to causing them harm. Hang on. My phone's ringing. They demanded the owner admit to causing them harm, issue immediate payment to staff that had payment withheld, including back pay, and redistribute the business and begin the process of transforming the business into a co-op. So basically, this thing that you did, I want you to give that to us. I bet you can't guess how this turned out.
Yep, I could guess.
The business fucking closed.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they needed, because one of the co-owners that supposedly started this all-inclusive, woke, lefty, everybody is paid fair wages and everybody gets along and happy hippie place. At the end of the day, one of their parents owned the building and they had to raise $200,000 and they couldn't come up with $200,000. So the commie place closed.
Not shocked, man. This is, they don't build things. They consume stuff. So like, and I love a good microcosm lesson,
Mm-hmm.
If we can learn from other people's mistakes, then we don't have to make them.
I feel like there's so many examples of failing communism out there that we don't learn from, though.
So many. And this is a really great one, like that happened in real time with some real commies in 2022 that tried to do the right thing.
Yes, the people that say, well, we haven't tried real communism yet. It's never been tried. They try and it fails so miserably.
It's so sad. Again, I think these people were probably trying to do the right thing in their mind, but like, look what you did. You ruined your own shit. You had something nice. You could still have it if you wouldn't have, adapted this ideology.
This was the video, like they adapted the ideology and then they came for more. Like I said, they always come for more. And then they caved so much harder, because this is the video that they posted of them caving. And this article says it, and I agree. It almost seems like a hostage video that they are filming here.
This is Sonam and Kate from Mina's World.
Oh, come on.
part of a radical accountability process. We are complicit in the gentrification and anti-blackness on 52nd Street. We put our community at risk with our presence, as well as our workers. And particularly, this was highlighted by an action from us, and we are here to take responsibility for that inaction and for the harm that we caused.
Does this not seem like a video right before ISIS chopped off the heads of reporters?
Definitely, man.
It's like we are complicit in the gentrification and the harm and blah blah blah. And gentrification, they're basically saying, you built this neighborhood up to something better than it was, and now it's too out of our. The gentrification is like, hey, you come put something good in a shitty neighborhood and it becomes better, and then whether you agree with it or not, yeah, it becomes a little bit more expensive to live there. So basically, they are taking the blame for having a successful business, is what it sounds like.
Man, and I think he said something apologizing for like exploiting like blackness or something like that.
Like, anti-blackness.
Anti-blackness. It's like, yo, bro, you're a minority too, bro. You could like participate in the minority or the oppression Olympics. I don't know why you're cucked so hard. Why don't you tell him that, you know, your struggle? Asian Americans in America were put in internment camps, baby. Remind him, you know, like that. So that lady hasn't said anything yet, but you know, I'm sure that she's got a struggle too.
Yeah, it's like pull your own card on them. But the thing is, they set this thing up. It's kind of like the schools in Canada, the government in Canada. It's like you set yourself up doomed to fail because you can't question it, because you set this thing up of don't ask any questions. This is the way, and we will follow the way. And if we veer off course the slightest bit, put us back in our place, and I guess we'll give up all our.
Well, dude, if this is indicative of like the woke movement, like if this is let's say they're like the extreme, but like maybe in 10 years they'll all look like that. Like that's a slave mentality. That's a tread harder, daddy mentality. Right? Like I guess that is what they would want. Right? Just a bunch of people like that. I'm so sorry. Oh my God. What can I do? You know, I'm sick.
Yeah, but they don't realize that's what they are being pushed into by mass media, by the government, by whatever. It's this big giant social experiment to get people to enslave themselves. We don't have to enslave you if you're going to fucking enslave yourself.
Yeah.
Make you it starts with the self-hating white liberals, and then now it's worked its way down to the self-hating minorities. Like you play this victim card and push this like you're a victim, and everybody, and now the victims are victimizing the victims at this point, and it's just like, why even lift a finger to enslave all of society when they're willing to? We can just talk them into enslaving themselves.
Yeah, total success. Culture war, it's on.
Yeah. I mean, it freaking brilliant if you're an evil genius, but for the rest of us, it's pretty terrifying.
Hopefully uncomfortable, yeah, for sure.
So it's like, where do we go from here? Like, there's got to be a line, and the thing is, all the lines have been erased and all the lines have been blurred, but there has to be a line. Otherwise, we end up down this road, and that's what they want. At the end of the day, they want us to own nothing and be happy, supposedly. But do these people look happy to you? I mean, let me show their faces again. Do these people look like they own nothing and they're happy?
Oh my God, no. And they all look the same too. I hate to judge a book by its cover, but yeah, I know exactly what they represent, and sure.
So, like I said, what is the solution to this besides like swinging back hard to the right? And
I saw Peter Thiel gave, and I don't know if this is 100% accurate, but it got me thinking. He said you got three options for the globe. You either have like the Chinese social credit tyranny, like the Big Brother style,
which is what they want, I think.
Right. Or he said you have like radical, fundamental Muslim, global,
like Taliban nation, like worldwide Taliban, basically, without
I guess, yeah,
without the religion, like hard fundamentalism to correct, to overcorrect, I guess.
And then he said the third is what America will probably have because it's the least invasive, which is like your kind of like electric scooter to work, Green New Deal kind of like thing. Which I guess that is the least worst. But I don't know. I think you're right about the China thing.
But I think that turns into the China thing, though.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
The whole smart model turns into the whole like social credit score because then they can track literally everything you do.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw the people. What state was it? Colorado, where their smart thermostats, they just like locked them out of their smart thermostats because we fucking said so. And it's just like, yeah, we can live in this hippie life of electric whatever and smart whatever, which is where we're headed in the near future. But that only ends and the China social credit score. It's like, well, you ran your air conditioning too hard today, so we're going to dock you some points. You said this thing on social media. You didn't apologize for your anti-blackness, so we're going to dock you a few points. Right. And it's just like thumbs up.
Dollars are going, dude. It's going to be credits.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
for sure. So they can dock you, right? Negative interest rates.
It's fucking Black Mirror. I think it was the second episode of Black Mirror where it's just like, you watch these stupid like pornographic advertisements and you got credits, and if you got a little extra food today, it took away some of your social credits, and like everything you did was part of your social currency, and that's where this is headed.
Yeah. Oh man, I hope that
But you got to break society first. You got to completely break society, and that is the face of broken society right there.
I'm with you, man.
Right here.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Broken society. You break them down, and then you make them feel like everything around them they couldn't possibly do it right, because we're just shitty humans. So tell us how to be right, and then they tell us how to be right. And if you don't do it, then you don't eat, I guess, is the end of the game. So I said I was going to bring this back to right-wing Italy, because I mean this fits right in hand with the wokeness eating itself. Because I mean, it was yesterday, I think, right, that they elected their first female prime minister, and obviously she's a Nazi because she is nationalist and far right. But this article popped up today: Giorgia Meloni's anti-woman politics and the future of Italy.
This is incredible.
The first female prime minister of Italy, and they're touting her anti-woman politics.
This is more of the patriarchy remaining on top. But the patriarchy isn't who you think it is, though.
No.
That's the thing. It's bizarre that feminists should be celebrating this. Even if you don't agree with her policies, which are, like you said, dude, nuclear family, borders. It's like it's the same shit everywhere. People, you know what I mean? Man.
This isn't subject to the United States, but this even quotes Hillary Clinton as saying, the election of the first woman prime minister in a country always represents a break with the past, and that is certainly a good thing. I mean, that's what they touted. That's why Kamala Harris became vice president, even though she was the worst example of a leftist female. But it was fantastic because she was a female, and breaking that glass ceiling. But now the story's changed, because this article goes on to say, being a woman doesn't automatically mean feminist, arguing that any woman winning power is a conquest for all women and for feminism is very sexist to me, because it puts the sex before the person and her beliefs or policies. The same people that said it was great that Kamala Harris became vice president, and look how bang up a job she's doing, those same type of people are saying just the fact she's a woman winning isn't a win, because that's putting the fact she's a female before her policies. It's just like we've been doing that. That's what we've been doing for the last 10 years is, we got to get a female justice in. We got to get a female. What was the couple of positions that Biden filled with females just because they were females? And he's like, look, I did a thing. I got females in these positions. Look at these females. And touted that as a win for feminism. But now, because it's not on that same side, whether she's a Nazi or not, which I am hard pressed to believe that she's a Nazi, just because that title is thrown around so flippantly now. But the fact that she's on the right and not the far left woke movement, well, now we got to say that why the hell are we putting sex before her beliefs and policies?
Yeah, it's amazing, man. Feminists should be celebrating this. Oh, good night, Shannon.
Good night, Shannon. We'll see you on the next one.
But they won't. So that's very telling, right? That anytime they use, I'm definitely gonna be a woman, and you know what? It's gonna be a black woman. Double oppression Olympics, right? Like
double win.
That's bullshit because they don't care about that. It's only what you say.
Yeah.
The regime libertarians are the same way. Oh, we need to it's a big, white guys club, the Libertarian Party. Oh, okay, cool. What do you think about Maj Touré? No, not that guy. Well, how about Eric July? No, not that one. Okay, how about Zuby? No, not that guy. Like, what the fuck, man?
Guy?
Yeah, it's not about that. It's not about they don't. If they're the ones who would just exploit someone's skin color to advance their agenda. It's fucking pathetic, man.
How would you feel if, like, say you're a gay man? I honestly don't know your sexual preference, nor do I give a fuck. But say you're a gay man, and this big corporation is like, you know what? We need a CEO of this company. We want to hire you because you're gay, and we're going to let you know that, hey, this is a big win for us and a big win for you in the gay community, that we're hiring you because you're gay. You have no experience in this industry or as being a CEO, and people actually fucking hate you, but we want you to be this position. How would you feel if you got that position based on the fact that you were just because you were their token gay man?
It would depend if I was a man whore or not. But
I mean,
no,
true.
dude, one of my reps right down the street, he posted on his page, he's a gay rep, and he was like, I'm honored to be like, the gay rep, was basically like his post. I'm like,
That's your only accolade, though?
Like, I'm not going to engage with that, but like, really? That's what you're proud of? Like, what did you fucking bring to the table, bro? Nobody cares. I mean, I hope nobody cares about that. Is that really what you care about? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and that just goes back to like Kamala Harris. Just like, you're only there because you're a freaking person of color and a woman, not because of any of your policies, your politics, or even your record.
She's cool with that though, because she actually is a little slutty.
she is definitely quite slutty from what I hear. So,
yeah.
But yeah, you think the feminists that touted this as a win would look at it and be like, that's a little sexist to prop this chick up just because she's a woman. Just like what they're saying about this Italian chick. It's like,
Right.
This is quite sexist and misogynistic to say that because she's a woman. It's just like, you got to pick a lane there, dude. You got to pick sides, because you can't play both sides of the fence here. And that the whole thing with this woke movement is there are no sides of the fence. So it's just, I don't know, an open range of stupidity.
Yeah, I'm fascinated, man. And I want to learn more about this woman.
Mhm.
But every story needs, like, it's like Batman's only as good like of a story because of the Joker, right?
Mhm.
So the antithesis for the woke crowd, like, their enemy is the far right.
Mhm.
Everything is the far right. I said today, and I think this is a real danger, again, because they destroy language over time. But like, I've been called far right lots of times over the past couple years, like just since getting involved in the LP and stuff, which is ridiculous on so many levels. We don't even need to go into it. It's just not true. But I've been called that, worse, Nazi, race, all this stuff. So when you do that so much, like if Donald Trump and MAGA represents the far right, well, what's the fringe? Like, is that what you're saying? That's the fringe. But that was like millions and millions he got more votes than any Republican ever. You can't call 1/3 of America or 1/4 of America like the fringe.
Or literally terrorists.
Literally, yeah. We didn't even get there yet. Extremists, terrorists. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's where we're at, though. And libertarians are swept up in that. But everything is far right. And these people they've never seen far right.
Mm-hmm.
They don't fucking know what that is. Your average white liberal 40-something or your average like 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old college student they're not oppressed. Not at all, right? Like
They're in the United States because their college isn't getting paid for.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody who lives in the 21st century United States of America is not oppressed like anybody was 200 years ago, say.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, right when we get off this call, you can probably have any food delivered to your house from any corner of the planet and enjoy it,
Even if you can't afford it, even if you can't afford that, you could walk out and get ramen noodles for like 75 cents.
Right.
No problem. You're not going to starve. I promise you that.
If you don't understand how good it is, and we're critical, right, of the state all day, but still, like, living here, we are the benefactors of like the generations that built this shit. So to treat it like a thing that could just be like fuck it, or like I just hate that attitude.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, just throw it away. Oh, we just install some communism, fix this shit. It's so dumb.
Just wipe it out and start over from
Right.
scratch. Like, do you know how long it took us to get here to begin with? Yeah, maybe wipe it out, and then in 250 years, our kids can look back and be like, what was that thing they did?
Right. And, man, and the Republicans could do better at this too. But I'm an anarchist. I'll settle out of court right now for the Bill of Rights.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's the promise that everybody was, I would tell that to anybody in BLM. What are you doing fucking around with these commie Marxist assholes? Get the fucking Bill of Rights like your ancestors wanted, asshole. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's what you should be doing.
Yeah. But that's what the media wants to distract you from that mentality of, hey, I can fucking do it on my own. No, if we put you all at victim status, then you can't do it on your own. You can't hold up the Bill of Rights on your own because you're a fucking victim. The Bill of Rights was written against you to oppress you, by the way. So you got to throw that out the window. It's like, oh, the Bill of Rights is oppressive. Rip that thing up. And then you look back and you're like, wait, what was that thing I just ripped up again? Mm. Oh shit. We don't have that anymore because we just ripped it up for them.
And the only law is comply.
Yes.
Simple.
I've got this last statement from this article. This was the only good. I mean, the whole article was good, but I didn't want to get too deep in it. But it says, there's an agenda at work here. It says, being that this dogma is used to weaken societal norms with a view to collapsing them, be it women-only lavatories, immigration controls, law enforcement, and nationhood itself, it's the typical communist campaign of demoralization. If you can't destroy a nation by force and you can't win power by the vote, you can persuade it to commit suicide. And that's where I see we're headed here is like we're saying, like, if you can convince the entire populace that they're all victims and that they basically society is set out against them and all their rights that they have the legal right to are somehow oppressive and we should get rid of them, then you set them up to basically just kill themselves off or enslave themselves, as we were talking earlier. Like, they don't have to do it. They don't have to be you don't have to vote enslavement of humanity. You don't have to send in the National Guard or the marshals, the federal marshals, because we just put our hands up in the air and say, enslave us, please. And that's what we started this show on. It's just like, we were watching people. It wasn't, they weren't taking our rights from us during COVID. We were saying, hey, here, take these. So give us our safety. We'll give up these rights to you in the name of safety or whatever. And it's just like, or in the name of what was it, like a $200 stimmy check or $1,200 stimmy check? It's like, yeah, just take all our rights. It's like, well, that was easy. We didn't have to even go in. We didn't even have to do a no-knock raid to infringe on the rights. They just gave them up to us.
Yeah, man. Nihilism is a hell of a drug, and they know exactly what to do. Like, you mentioned earlier, like in the 90s, like anti-government sentiment was like high. Like, yes, it was. And they knew that. And I think they, PNAC was written in like whatever, 97. They wrote that report about, you're aware of this? Of course you are.
Yeah. Yep.
So, they knew what they were going to do. I think they knew what the reaction would be. They knew that, in 2000, I'm sure that they knew that the war on terror, after they complete X, Y, and Z over here, well, you invert that mirror over here, and then you turn it on these guys, and then we lock down the state here. Ching, 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 ching. I mean, they don't. I have a hard time planning anything that's, more than a couple months out. But they're thinking 20, 40, 100 years. Like John McCain said, right? 100 years in Iraq or whatever. That's literally how they plan stuff. So,
yeah, they had their, what was it? The New American Order or something like that. New American Century. There you go. That they planned out in 2000. And then 9/11 just fell right into that playbook. The war on terror fell right into that playbook. And I'm sure COVID fell right into that playbook.
Lock it down. The permanent emergency state. We know you have these documents that protect some rights that you have, except in case of emergency.
Yes. So we put you in all emergencies, but then we also distract you with all this other nonsense, like mass confusion on the national level, the global scale. Just like it's like you just dropped a confusion bomb on people, and start at an early age, as we were saying. Just start confusing them young, because as you were saying, they play the long fucking game. So you're gonna get pushback from the MAGA Republicans or the libertarians or whatever from some of these like pushes against societal norms, but just wait 20 years once these Generation Zers get out of school and they're the ones teaching colleges and they're teaching the next generation. I mean, like you said, it's a generation away, just a confusion bomb, a slow moving confusion bomb. And then 20 years from now, it's just like, we don't even look like we look today. And we think shit's bad today.
Yeah, I think that word demoralization popped up a little while ago, but that was part of, I don't forget which phase it was, but Yuri, you remember that Yuri interview, man? That guy was dead on. I mean, that's what you got to do, and it's generational, but demoralize the culture. Turn things upside down. That's the CIA plan too, right? Like, we'll know that our plan is complete when the general public can't tell what's up and down. Like they won't even know.
Oh, we're there.
Yeah.
I mean, probably at least 80% of the population's there. What's good? What's bad? I mean, we've talked several.
What's a woman? I can't believe that's a question in 2022.
You can't even get a Supreme Court justice nominee to specify what a woman is on stand because she doesn't want to offend somebody, or maybe she doesn't know. Maybe she's been brainwashed to not know what a fucking woman is. Except when like abortion rights come up, and then everybody all of a sudden knows what a woman is.
No, she knows, dude. But their demons speak in double speak or legalese.
Mm-hmm.
Legalese sounds a lot like English, but it's not. They're speaking another language, and that's why all those fucking vipers in DC are all lawyers.
Yeah,
it's
No, you're definitely not wrong. Is there a win for us? How do we individually like combat this? How do we come back from this at the individual level?
Well, that's, I guess, a constant practice for me, dude. Right now, I just try and recognize everything and that's natural, right? That's why I like doing a podcast like once or twice a week, because I can like I said, get in there, talk it out in the matrix,
and
then leave it. And then I can go sit with my girl and my dog and go watch Game of Thrones or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you got to compartmentalize stuff. And, but that's the main thing for me. I just like to stick with the natural stuff, like they say, like go touch the grass. Because I think that's what it is. It's a spiritual war. It's like a mental thing. The info war, as the Alex Jones would tell you, whatever. It's like war on the mind, as Prince would say. So yeah, you got to stay sharp, right? And get with your community, take care of your family, embrace everything that's natural.
Yeah, and there's a war against what's natural now. Like this push towards the big cities. I mean, we could go on a side tangent for another 2 hours about just the benefits of connecting and becoming one with nature and just like regenerating, refreshing, resetting your mind away from this insanity, this all like made up digital bullshit that's in your face constantly now. It's just swarmed in your face. I mean, how many times do you pick up your phone to look something up and
I got a problem.
you catch yourself like 20 minutes later, you're scrolling through videos and you never even looked up the thing that you were looking up. You just got sucked into the matrix. And it's just like, there's something there. There's something with disconnecting from digital reality and going out in the natural elements. And yeah, you look at like the metaverse, and that's, to me, is just a war against that. It's like, well, just put this thing on and you can experience all these things in a digital
Dude,
era.
they're gonna get so many pleasures in the metaverse, right? That's gonna you're gonna have to be really spiritually and mentally put together to like avoid some of the shit that's probably coming up. Elon says we're already cyborgs, dude, with the phone. You know, it's just like the response time before you get the signal like takes a while right now, which we think is quick. You know, 3 seconds before you get your answer from Siri or whatever.
Yeah.
But you know, in 20 or 30 years, it'll probably take, you know, a nanosecond because it's fucking in the chip that goes right to your brain.
Yeah, we already accuse like Google of knowing our thoughts. Like you go to pull up something and it just auto populates the thing. Just imagine like before you even think it, it just pops up in front of you. It's just like, oh shit, I didn't even know I wanted that right now.
And this is the end result of proxying out the entire human experience.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like that starts with just kind of watching TV, right? Or just entertaining yourself, you know, like 3 generations ago, just sitting and being like a lump.
Yep.
And then, you know, it evolves into what we have now with the virtual reality and metaverse, and just like literally detaching the natural, like severing that natural connection. Totally.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, there's something dark to it, disconnecting you from reality, disconnecting you from nature. There's a reason why nature is there. And there's a reason why when you go out, even if it feels like work to go out into nature, you come back a little bit rejuvenated. You come back like a little bit reset. When the phone is shut off for a couple days, the first few hours you feel that like almost panic mode. It's like, oh, I don't have connectivity. What the fuck am I going to do? And then you get to the realization, it's like, oh shit, I don't got connectivity. Why am I even holding this thing? And then you start noticing the world around you. And then at some point you come back, and for a few days and few moments, it's just like, yeah, that was really good. And then you end up right back in that cycle of it eventually. But I think there's a war against nature, and it's definitely a spiritual thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, man.
Well, that's about all I got. We definitely covered quite a bit of shit here and ventured down quite a few rabbit holes here. But Dave, if you could let people know where they can find out more about you and hear your show and stuff and get in touch with you.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I got a show called Dave versus Goliath on YouTube and Odyssey. It streams, and used to be on the Twitter. I'm kind of hanging in the wings there at the moment because they hate me over there. And man, the fascists at Facebook are really going hard during election season.
Yeah?
They just pulled a picture that I posted in 2020 of, and this isn't just me. This is like, they're getting a lot of people with it, but it's a picture of Hunter Biden in the tub with a cigarette hanging from his lip. It's like from the chest up. It's like nothing crazy. They're calling it adult sexual exploitation.
Oh, but we can have children putting dollars down men's underwear. That's
Dude,
fine.
This is what I'm saying. This is absolute literal fascism and literal election meddling. You know what I mean? That's what they're doing. The Russians don't have shit on the Biden administration and Facebook. But anyway, yeah, I'm on Facebook. I'm on. I just can't stream there for 90 days. It'll be like it'll be practically 2023 before I can stream on Facebook again.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Oh yeah, they're really going for it, dude. But Facebook, Instagram, yeah, I'm streaming on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Good. I had a feeling you got booted from Twitter because I couldn't find you to tag you on Twitter. So I was like, yeah, he probably got the boot. That's the one I haven't got booted from yet. I've been booted from Facebook and YouTube.
I'll send you a message on Twitter.
All right, fair enough. On your fake account.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, Dave, it's been awesome having you on. We definitely probably got ourselves into some trouble, and we'll probably both get nuked on platforms for this conversation. But these are conversations that should be allowed to be had, but we're not allowed to because of the laws and the rules of the digital age. And like you see how the laws in Canada just totally implode on themselves. I mean, this whole thing's going to implode on itself eventually. So thanks for coming on the show while you still are allowed to do that, Dave, because this has been an awesome conversation.
It was a pleasure. Thanks, Greg. I appreciate it, man.
Yep. Everybody check out Dave and his show, Dave vs. Goliath, or check us out all over the social medias at Break the Bell Pod. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook for the time being. We're trying to build back up our YouTube channel since we got nuked a couple months ago. So if you are listening on YouTube, go like and subscribe to that so we can build that thing back up to where it was pre-nuke days. Otherwise, have a great rest of your week. Check us out tomorrow morning and Thursday morning for the Two Scoops morning show with me and my brother, Dan Smotz of the System is Down podcast. Otherwise, we'll see you here next week for another fun session. So, Dave, thanks for coming on. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you, buddy.
Yep. Bye.
The Break the Bell podcast is brought to you by you. So pat yourself on the back because without you, we would be talking to ourselves. A special thanks to our Patreon members, Justin Zielinski, Remzo Martinez, Stephanie Parker, and T.O. Jacobson. A shout out to our sponsors, Run Your Mouth Coffee, the On the Run podcast, and Goulash Media. If you'd like to help support us, visit patreon.com/breakthebell or buy our garbage at breakthebell.bigcartel.com. Get back here next week and let us continue to invade your ear holes. And as always, never stop talking.